Thank you. Good morning. Thank you. Please take your seats. Welcome to the Board of County Commissioners meeting. It's February 17th. And at this time, we'll be inviting Pastor Nick Yanton of the Rise Christian Church to come forward for invocation. Pastor, if we also could take a moment of silence before you come up here, for we had a county employee, Arthur Shields, that passed away this weekend, and also recognizing Joe D'Alessandro, our first state attorney here in Lee County, passed away this morning. Thank you.
Father, we thank you for the privilege of this gathering. We thank you for the men and the women who've gone before us with the vision of making this county and its respective communities a place that we're able to call home. Thank you for the elected officials, and help them to honor their oath to serve our communities with humility and courage. Please grant them vision as they work to better our community. We pray your grace upon Commissioners Ruane, Pendergrass, Mulika, Hammond, Petrosky, and their teams. Father, we invite you into this room today to lead and guide, to impart wisdom, to navigate the items at hand. Bring your spirit of unity to those issues that may bring tension and differing points of view, and help us all to be quick to listen and slow to speak. When we do speak, may our words be rooted in truth, seasoned with grace, and offered with love as we consider our neighbors better than ourselves. Grant eyes to see and ears to hear. Grant a heart of wisdom and humility in stewarding the resources given and established, the fiscal, the natural, and the human, and offer perseverance in doing what is good and right, even if it's hard. Father, ask your grace upon this day, your hope to fill our lives, and may your will be done here in Lee County as it is in heaven. And Lord, we ask your comfort, your peace, and your grace upon the family of Art Shields. We thank you for this day. We praise you. We pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. You join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Well, we have a couple of ceremonials this morning, and the first one I'd like to introduce Commissioner Hammond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to call up, it's David Wagley and anybody else who's here for Bike Month. If you would all come to the podium, all my Bike Month folks. Maybe they're not. David, oh, there we go. We'll have everybody who's here for Bike Month just stand at the podium. I'd love to read this into the record, and then we'll take a picture together. All right, the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas March is Florida Biking Month and has showcased the many benefits of bicycling, and whereas Florida is ideally suited for residents and visitors to cycle with an average of 237 sunny days per year, along with many scenic locations available to riders, whereas Lee County has invested substantial funds in developing bicycle facilities and currently maintains approximately 792 miles of on- and off-road paths, lanes, and trails, whereas bicyclists from around the world visit Lee County to enjoy the extensive cycling facilities, thus having a positive impact on Lee County's economy and tourism industry, whereas national health organizations and physical fitness activists promote increased bicycling as a way to improve health, quality of life, and boost community spirit, and whereas an increase in the use of bicycles in place of motor vehicles has a positive environmental impact by decreasing greenhouse gases and emissions and reducing pollution in Lee County, and whereas Lee County encourages bicycle safety education for bicyclists and motorists, including the rules of the road and benefits of wearing helmets to ensure safety and well-being of all, and whereas the Board of County Commissioners adopted the Complete Streets Resolution on November 10, 2009 to integrate bicycling, walking, and public transit with the county's transportation program. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Lee County, Florida does hereby proclaim March 2026 as Bike Month in Lee County, and we encourage all residents and visitors to ride their bicycles throughout the month. It's duly executed this 17th day of February 2026 and signed by our chairman, the Honorable Commissioner Cecil Pendergrass. Thank you guys. Congratulations on Bike Month.
Congratulations.
There you go.
Congratulations. Nice to see you. Thank you. Yay.
deal. And would somebody like to say a few words?
Good morning. I'm Dave Wheaton. I'm the current chair of the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee for Lee County. Commissioners, county staff, and residents, appreciate the opportunity to say a couple words. Over the past several years, many of you know, I've had an opportunity to travel pretty much all over the United States on my bicycle, working with the National EMS Memorial Bicycle Ride, and it's been incredible to see the different types of things around the country, the different types of bicycle pedestrian stuff. On a personal note, though, a personal opinion of mine, Lee County has some of the finest bike ped facilities, for lack of a better word, in the nation. So, which is something to really hold up for, especially we're a tourist area. It's really nice to see all that. The best part is we see continued improvement. We see you guys making sure that we have some monies to try to do, and of course we know we could fix everything if we just had a big pile of money. That's not true. It doesn't happen. We know that. But we see improvements such as the bike ped overpass that's in the process with the state of Florida for extending JY linear path over Colonial Boulevard, which is, if you've ever ridden a bicycle on JY, trying to cross Colonial is just it's a tough deal. So eventually that's supposed to connect all the way down to the new Caloosahatchee bike path on the Caloosahatchee Bridge that the state of Florida did. I caught a lot of grief from people saying, you bicyclists, I can't believe they closed the bridge down so you can have a bicycle path put on there. I said, well, no, that's not what it is, but regardless, every time I go over there, I see a lot of people on there. It's really cool to see that people actually can do that. I guess what's really nice is to see the fact that you guys continue to enhance what we have and the stuff around. Continued support for projects such as the Florida Greenways, which I think recently you guys had allowed for some funding to go, or at least a way to go through. This road over the new bridge down on Big Carlos, it's obviously need a little bit of work still, but how cool is that? I mean, it's really nice to see that stuff happening. The Bonita Estero Railway rail trail coming up, that's also good. It's going to be great for this all of Southwest Florida. Going to make Southwest Florida even a more desirable location to cycle. And keep in mind, it's not for, I get it, this also a little pressure is, it's not for the spandex crowd, it's for everybody. Everybody enjoys riding the bicycle paths. I mean, it's a beautiful place, 200 and so many days a year. Don't mention the wind, though. We do have wind in Southwest Florida about half of those times. Thanks very much, and I also want to thank very much LEDOT for the stuff that they do, Dave and his group, because if it wasn't for them shepherding this stuff, a lot of this stuff wouldn't happen. You may provide the money, but you need the leadership to keep it going. So thanks very much.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Hammond. Next, we have Commissioner Petrowski. You have Ag Expo Days, your first one.
We do. We have a proclamation for our Ag Expo. So for those of you that are joining us with representing the Ag Expo, if you want to come up to the podium so you can be recognized today. Thank you. All right. So this reads, Lee County, Florida Proclamation. Whereas fairs and expos are a cherished American tradition that bring neighbors together and strengthen the social fabric of communities, and whereas Lee County has a long-standing history of excellence in agriculture, education, and industry, and whereas the Southwest Florida Ag Expo features a wide variety of engaging events, including creative living arts and craft exhibits, as well as livestock shows and sales that highlight the talents of local youth and agricultural leaders. And whereas the Ag Expo also offers an expanded carnival experience with spectacular Brythe Offer shows, midway rides and attractions, free concerts and special promotional days designed to engage families in the community. And whereas the continued growth and success of the event, expected to draw thousands of attendees daily, is a testament to the high quality of programming and the commitment of the staff, volunteers, community, and the youth participants representing 4-H, FFA, and Pee-wees of Southwest Florida. And whereas the 2026 Southwest Florida Ag Expo themed Roots and Rides, a celebration of tradition, will be held over 11 consecutive days, celebrating community, youth competitions, entertainment, and fun for all ages. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Lee County, Florida does hereby declare February 26th through March 8th, 2026 as Ag Expo Days in Lee County, and encourages residents and visitors alike to honor the county's agricultural heritage by attending the Southwest Florida Ag Expo and enjoying the rides, food, entertainment, exhibits, and community celebration duly executed this 17th day of February 2026 by the Board of County Commission Chair Cecil Pendergrass.
Good morning. I'll take 2 photos. 3, 2, 1. And 3, 2, 1.
Thank you. Congratulations. Would anyone like to speak today? Thank you, Mac.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank all of you for supporting the Ag Expo. This is the 3rd year. Can you believe it or not? I mean, the first year we took it on, there was a lot of challenges, but we got through it with the support of all of you, and also our county manager and assistant county managers. Thank you guys for your support. It meant a lot for the whole team to get through that process. I want to thank this amazing group of people behind me. They are great. You guys are doing a great job throughout the whole year. All the departments that supply everything we need, from the facilities department to heavy equipment to our communication team, to put information out there to make sure that the community knows that what's happening at the Mike Greenwell complex. Want to thank also each and one of the residents that came out last year to support everything, and also the Ag Expo kids, all the hogs and the chickens and all the cows that come out, you know, and the horse barns, and there's just so much going on, right? So I thank you coming out today to do a site visit. We're looking forward to that, to have you come out. But we're so proud of what our team has done and look forward to many, many things to come in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And yeah, our team does a great job out there the last 3 years, and it's been amazing. And now they'll be at the Mike Greenwell Regional Park this year for the first time. So again, thank you. Good job. Next, we Commissioner Maleka. We have the baseball. Time for ball.
So good morning. Yeah, let's play ball. If we can get the 2 teams for the Twins and the Red Sox teams to come up here. This is a joint resolution, but I have one for each team, and then we'll let you each say a few words at the end. Welcome. All right. So here's a proclamation. Whereas Lee County welcomes the Minnesota Twins and their fans back for their 36th spring training season in Lee County at the Lee Health Sports Complex, and Lee County welcomes the Boston Red Sox and their fans back for their 34th spring training season in Lee County and the 15th at JetBlue Park. And whereas Lee County is incredibly proud of the 3-decade-long partnership with both teams, with winter raging on in both Minneapolis and Boston. We welcome fans to enjoy America's favorite pastime in the sunshine and explore our ever-growing neighborhoods and communities. And whereas the Red Sox and Twins are exemplary community partners, aligning themselves with many local nonprofits and youth organizations, as well as showing immense support for hurricane relief efforts, including the use of spring training facilities for various volunteer staging, relief efforts, and fundraising activities. And whereas the 2026 spring training season will once again highlight Lee County as a special part of the Twins territory and Red Sox nation. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Lee County, Florida, along with Lee County Parks and Rec, Visitor and Convention Bureau, Sports Development Office, Facilities Construction and Management, do hereby proclaim its full support for both the Boston Red Sox and Minnesota Twins organizations, and we send our most sincere best wishes for success in the upcoming 2026 baseball season, duly executed the 17th day of February by our chair, Cecil Pendergrass.
Sean.
Ready? We're gonna take 2 photos. One more.
You guys want to flip who goes first?
You take turns?
Good morning,
Good morning.
Commissioner.
Morning.
Victor Gonzalez, I'm here day to day on the ground for the Twins here in Fort Myers. I'm reminded every spring when my coworkers from Target Field come down how blessed I am to live in this warm, wonderful climate. They tell me how lucky I am, and I realize that every February when they get down. Just want to continue to thank Lee County for their continued partnership, the over 3 decades long partnership we have. It's really impressive how it continues to grow and evolve. The more my job evolves, I've learned the different departments that we get to interact with: traffic, police, parks and rec, emergency services, county leadership, everybody. It's amazing how many departments it takes to make spring training so successful. So it's just really impressive, really heartwarming to see how the community comes together to make spring training such a success every year. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the manager of our facility, the Lee Health Sports Complex, Keith Blasingen, 40 years of service this year. Really remarkable. Keith's become a good friend and a good mentor to work with day to day. So very blessed to have him as a leader. People like Keith are why Lee County is such a great place to live, and why our parks are so awesome. Additionally, our grounds crew over there, we couldn't be more grateful. All the work they do behind the scenes to make our facilities and playing surfaces first class. Very grateful for that, and continue to be open as an organization to having our facility be a beacon of hope during times of need, times of emergency. Like you mentioned, our facility is open. We're willing to work with the county to help in times of need, but also help drive the economic impact and tourism on Blue Sky Days. So thank you all.
Thank you.
May I approach, please?
Please.
If I could. So Commissioner Petrosky, I'd like to present you with autographed baseball from Commissioner Greenwell, as well as one of our spring training hats, which feature Lee County on the brim. Commissioner Greenwell wore number 39. I'm sorry, I'm just going to turn
Go
it
back,
back
go
for a
back.
moment.
Yeah, go
Commissioner
ahead.
Greenwell is going to wore number 39. And that's an important number to us, but there's a couple other important numbers I want to stress, the numbers 12 and the numbers 291. On January 4th, 2023, I made a promise to Commissioner Greenwell that we would do everything in our power to make this a 12-month-a-year business, hence the number 12. And in 2025 was the first year we were able to do that, with monthly events that occurred to generate revenue for not only our organization, but more importantly and most importantly for the taxpayers of this community and to contribute to the tax base. Brennan Whitley and Jasmine Carlos have played a tremendous role in helping us live up to that promise to Commissioner Greenwell. And certainly the support we have from Fenway Park with Pete Nesbitt, our SVP of Stadium Operations, to be here to support us as well. But the 291 event dates that JetBlue Park was used this year. Now, not only for the events that I mentioned to you, where we kicked off our concert series with Luke Bryan this summer, where our concert series will now begin in the fall, so we can have regular, great, large entertainment acts at JetBlue Stadium, but also the great events that the county hosts. Josh Brooks is here in the back. His staff, not only Josh, but Pat and Isaiah, they're a big part of that 291 events with baseball that goes on here and youth soccer, and we're very proud to be part of that 12-month-a-year focus. So I want to reestablish this promise to you in honor of Commissioner Greenwell, that we will not only continue to live up to that promise to you, but most importantly, the citizens of Lee County, that we will make this more of a hub for activity to generate more tax dollars for you. And for that, I say thank you very much.
Thank you. It really is impressive, the teamwork and coordination between our staff and all, their great leadership internally and the external synergy between these teams and the community and economic development that comes from this. So I was really proud to read that today. Thank you for the opportunity.
And since Commissioner Ruane's not here today, go beat the Yankees, okay?
Mr. Petrosky, congratulations, you got your autograph ball from Mike, and just don't throw that out the first pitch, keep that one in your office, so.
No, this will go in the glass case.
Yeah.
My first item to go in the glass case.
Yeah,
Thank
there you go.
Love.
Great. Thank you. Okay, we move on to the recap. We have one item for the recap. We have our number 827, revisions and corrections. If I could get a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any public comment on the revisions and corrections for item A27? Come back to the board. Any objection? Objection, motion carries. Thank you. Move on to consent items. Consent, Commissioner Hammond, anything to be pulled?
None today.
Okay, I have none. Commissioner Maleka?
I'm going to pull 17.
17? Okay. Commissioner Petrosky?
I have none.
Okay. Motion to approve the balance of the items.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Commissioner Petrosky. Any public comment on the balance of the agenda items? Okay, we'll come back to it. Any objections to the balance? No objection, motion carries. Okay, number 17, Commissioner Maleka.
So thank you. I was hoping to pull this and ask Mr. Hunter if Rebecca could come up and present this item, please.
Yes. Rebecca?
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. Item 17 for you today is to award a miscellaneous professional services contract for solid waste management. So this awards engineering and professional services contracts to 6 firms to be able to provide specialized engineering services for our solid waste infrastructure.
Thank you. I always love to talk trash with Rebecca. It's a subject that's near and dear to my heart, but I wanted to compliment you on the strategy of this. You said you put this together almost a year ago in the works to get this worked out, and I was impressed. These were very specialized trade contracts for very specific industry needs at the landfill and other recycling facilities that we have that'll help us extend the life of our landfill and save us money in the long run and be more responsive and agile. And I just wanted to compliment you as the newest director that you have taken such a great and professional approach to this position, and I've been very impressed at your leadership and forward thinking in this matter. So I wanted to bring this up just to, not that I didn't like it, but I wanted to make a special motion to approve it individually and recognize your efforts.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank
Any public comment on number 17? Come back to the board. Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Thank you. Administrative. Now, number 26, I'm sorry, 25.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is to initiate CDBGR action plan amendments and set closing date for Lee Cares applications. I'd like to ask Ms. Nicole Turner to present the item.
Morning.
Good morning. Item 25 covers several requested actions for CDBG DR funding. First, we are asking the board to consider directing staff to close the application period for Hurricane Helene and Milton, Lee Cares Individual Housing Recovery Assistance. You'll see that based on this trend line, the applications are dwindling. Go to the next slide. Sorry. As we reported previously, the Lee Cares team has done significant outreach to survivors, and we believe we can close the application period confidently at this point. We're also asking the board's authorization to post 2 action plan amendments for the required 30-day public comment period. The changes encompass the board's direction from the January 20th meeting. After the public comment period closes, we will bring the amendments back to the board on April 7th for your authorization to submit to HUD for approval. And the final action item is to increase the Sanibel Captiva Road and Captiva Drive Resiliency Project, adding $2.4 million for permanent hardening measures for Blind Pass Bridge.
Any question? Any questions for staff?
I have no questions, Mr. Chairman, but I'll gladly move the item for approval. I appreciate the presentation. I really appreciate the demonstration there of how the applications have really kind of fallen off, and the fact that you guys really did make an outreach to the public to try and get as many people into the system and make them aware of the system as possible. So I think you did a fantastic job with that. And so, Mr. Chairman, yeah, I'll move approval.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. We have a second. Thank you. Any public comment on number 25? Okay, come back to order. Any objection? Objection, motion carries. Thank you. Number 26.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This item is to provide $20 million of CDBG-DR money funding for 5300 Summerlin Affordable Housing Project. I'd like to ask Ms. Nicole Turner to present the item.
Thank you. This item is for $20 million in CDBG-DR funding to support the 5300 Summerlin Road Affordable Housing Development Project. The affordability period on this one is 30 years, providing 230 affordable housing units. Total project cost is $93.6 million.
Thank you. Any questions?
Mr. Chair, if I may? Nicole, is this the same setup as the other ones that we've done where it's they'll repay the loan through the rents and everything like that?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Great. Any other questions? Okay, we'll call for public comment. We have one public comment card. We have Julie Truzak. Hope I pronounced it right. Julie from Naples, Florida. Morning.
Good morning. I'm just here to ask about, I know someone who was moved from the Horizons project last year, and they're struggling to pay their rent because their prices have gone up. I was just wondering, it's also happened to a lot of our neighbors. I was just wondering if they're gonna be getting any help and what the process is with that. I guess I just don't understand how people can get kicked out of public housing without assistance or some sort of help.
Okay, so we take public comment at this time. We don't take answers. And this item 26 is really about funding for a certain project, so it's not about placement. But we can have staff get with you after the meeting and get with you and provide information for you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comment on number 26? Okay, we'll come back to the board for a motion.
I'll move approval, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion.
A second.
We have a second. Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Thank you. 27.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the water contract to restore and enhance capacity of the Fort Myers Beach Water Reclamation Facility. I'd like to ask Ms. Talia Bickle to present the item.
Hey, good morning, Commissioners. I'm really honored to be representing my department for approval of this agenda item. It's a long time coming. The Fort Myers Beach Water Reclamation Facility provides essential wastewater treatment to the residents and businesses in the town of Fort Myers Beach and nearby unincorporated areas of Lee County. This project scope consists of improvements needed due to aging infrastructure and widespread damages sustained during Hurricane Ian. This facility will be constructed to restore loss of treatment capacity and meet the requirements of advanced wastewater treatment as required by the Clean Waterways Act. In order to protect this huge investment, the project will include hazard mitigation and flood-proofing elements to make the facility more resilient to coastal flooding, ensuring continued and reliable wastewater treatment. I've shared with you some 3D renderings here. These critical infrastructures we have on the bottom, the new admin building, and on the top, electrical building, are shown. As you can see, they have an elevated ground floor elevation. It's going to be approximately 16 feet throughout the facility. This actually exceeds the FEMA 500-year flood elevation. This is a general oversight of what we expect the finished site to look like. In this slide, we are demonstrating the funding that we anticipate across the next 5 years of construction for this project. As part of this approval, we're also requesting contingency funds. I want to make clear that these contingency funds are not included in the contract with the low bidder, Poole & Kent Company of Florida. All requests for contingency will require a separate review by staff and ratification by the board for any expenditures over $100,000. The spend amount that we're showing here throughout the years is just a projection, and the actual spend amounts will be determined by the progress made and the work completed. The grant funding that we're showing will not need to be repaid and includes various sources, including Resilient Florida Grant Program and the SOFI loan forgiveness. We anticipate beginning construction activities as early as next month once we receive approval, and anticipate final completion or substantial completion in the year 2030. I'm available to answer any question the board may have.
Great. Any questions from the board?
I just wanted to congratulate you on your new position.
Thank you.
A very thoughtful presentation, and you were well prepared for the briefing, and I was very enthused to see this project come online. It is a very complex project. That beach facility got really hammered in Ian, and it was just devastated over that. So to see everything be resilient and higher, stronger, better, and then with the hard bid that you picked, I think you saved about $130 million over the second place bidder. And so it's a good value for us, and I think with the complexity of demolishing an existing plant while you keep it open while you're building a new one, I can see where there's going to be some adjustments that need to be made in the fly, and so I think that dexterity is really good. But I also wanted to compliment staff on this amendment to the motion today where we come back to us with $100,000 each if there is a change order on there, because Manager Harner and his team have always been incredibly transparent with us for access to information and knowing the status of a project and giving us that detail so that we have the ability to have oversight or influence if there was a problem. We know it as it happens rather than after the fact. So I wanted to compliment you on your presentation and a hero's effort to build two $300 million plants at the same time. So welcome to the jungle here.
Thank you.
Well done on this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'll motion for approval.
We have motion for approval.
I'll second.
Do we have a second? Commissioner Hammond? Any public comment on this item? 27, come back to the board. Any
Chairman,
objection?
if I may, real
Yes,
quick.
Commissioner Hammond.
Talia, if you could, just for 1 second. Commissioner, I think that was a fantastic motion that was made on the recap about the catch on the change orders. I think that signals to the people who are building this that, hey, that contingency is not up for grabs. That is a contingency fund to be used if needed. And
It's
so
our contingency.
I think that was really a very, very smart move on our part, and so thank you very much for helping us get there on that. The one thing that I think people are curious about, this plant is currently serving customers, and it's going to continue to serve customers throughout the construction period. Could you just satisfy that curiosity and talk a little bit about how do you guys continue to perform your daily duties during the construction period? How's that going to all work together?
Sure, it is very complicated. There is a dedicated maintenance of plant operations plan that we put into place. We've worked really hard to identify, kind of the sequence of construction that's recommendation. A lot will depend on coordination with the contractor and with operations staff on site to kind of see what the changing needs are. Obviously, if there's any pre-storm preparation, chemical deliveries, or just, daily maintenance that needs to happen at the plant. A lot of coordination between everybody.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. And thanks again for that, spotting the contingency fund there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any objections? All good? Okay. Next will be number 28, public hearing. Good morning, David.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. David Halverson, County Attorney's Office. I have both your public hearings this morning. This first item seeks the adoption of a resolution confirming the final assessment role, ratifying the completion of capital improvements, and approving the final assessments to be levied against benefited properties within the Whiskey Creek Dredge Capital Improvement Project, MSBU. This item has been legally advertised. If there's any questions, staff's available.
Thank you. Any questions for staff at this time? David, can you kind of talk us through how we got here? It goes over how the residents decided to do this in the past, or do you want Josh to do that?
Sure, I can cover it. If I miss anything, Josh can step in. But this Whiskey Creek CIP MSBU was actually created in June of 2020. That's when the unit was created. The work has now been completed, and so now this is a final step to have an ultimate determination of what is owed by each property within the unit. Okay. And we've already elected to use the non-ad valorem method of assessment for this project. So that's how we got here today.
Great, thank you. Josh, you want to come on? Oh, you have a question?
So all the work has been performed, the contract has been paid in full. This is just the final tally for accounting to...
That's correct. That's correct, is my understanding. And now this is a method to reimburse ourselves.
Okay, we'll have Josh come up with any other questions for this.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning. Yes, everything has been completed. This is just simply to ratify the project, set a maximum interest rate, and the final assessment role.
And can you, how many we have hundreds of MSTUs throughout the county we use, and normally, we've obviously been in contact with some of the residents that's concerned about the increase in this. Do we normally pay the extra with public funds for something like that, the increased funds at the term of something like this? What do we use? Have we ever done that before with all the hundreds of MSTUs?
If you're talking about capital improvements, there's 20%, if available, when funds are available. Right now, that's not an option. I think what you're talking about is the 50% increase. That's not allowed under MSTBU.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Any questions for staff at this time? Before we have public comment? No? Okay. We have public comment cards here. The first one is Arlene Miley.
Hello. I do have some questions and problems with assessing 234 people for what is a natural waterway, and it's open to the public, right? And the state of Florida, according to statute, is supposed to pay for having that access, that channel come in. So, one, it was done in 2017. I don't understand what, it was first initiated in 2017. That's when Irma came through, and it washed all the water out of our canals. And I'm sure that's probably didn't help, you know, it probably filled in that channel somewhat. I don't know why Irma funds weren't requested at that time. Then, in June of 2020, I guess this created by resolution, as you recall, June of 2020 was COVID. The entire state of Florida was shut down. And so was the United States, actually. So it seems that that was all done in cover of darkness to me. Because Ron DeSantis shut down the state of Florida April 1st of 2020. Yes. 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 And didn't reopen it until September. Or didn't reopen the entire state until September of 2020. So I don't like that. Also, as I've said, the state of Florida is required, according to statute, to, let me see, the state ensures that these waterways, which Whiskey Creek, the basin, and on up into Whiskey Creek, and the channel, is publicly accessible by anybody in the state of Florida. Right? Anybody that has a boat or a kayak or whatever can use that. So why are 234 people paying for public access waterway? I don't quite get or the channel. You understand what I'm saying? Am I making sense? Hello? No answer. Okay. Anyway, so the funds should have been requested from the state of Florida to pay for this. And so what happens this year if we get a major storm again and it fills up again? Then are we going to be, the 234 people, going to be required to pay again?
Your time's up. The red light is the indicator. Thank you. Any other public, I have no other cards on this item. Is there any other public comment on this item? If you do, please come forward, do a card, and state your name at the front of the podium. Yeah, I didn't do a card. Okay. Just come on up and state your name at the podium, and there's cards outside.
I'd first like to thank the commissioners for allowing me to voice my opinion. And I want to make a statement regarding my wife and I's opinion on this project. And I agree with this woman when we ask, this was done, we know that in hurricane season or even tropical depressions that inlet can change either way. either sand being added in or taken out. And I have the same concern she does, that what's gonna happen the next time that this takes place? Are we gonna be assessed again to redredge it? I don't have the confidence that we won't be. And my wife and I both feel extorted having to pay this for when we believe boating is a privilege, not a right. And we don't feel we should have to pay into this project when we don't see any benefit ourselves. But thank you so much for letting me voice my opinion.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Please come forward.
Yeah, thank you. My name's Jeff Fiscardo. I'm a 25-year resident on the creek and been boating since I got here. When this came out, I was definitely in favor for it. I voted for the assessment. I saw, I did see him do a little bit of dredging right before Ian, and I believe it was 2022, on the main canal coming in. My understanding when the dredging project was to be done, or what I understood I voted on, was that at low tide, we'd have a minimum of a 3.5 foot draft going out the main entrance out of the creek, like on the outside of the bridge. So I was out boating the other day. It was 4 hours past low tide, coming up towards high tide, and I had 2.7 feet of draft. So that's okay for me, but I don't feel like that's what I agreed on and that's what I paid for. I feel that it should have been at least 3.5 feet, being I was 4.5 hours past low tide, and it was 2.7 feet. So I'm not saying they didn't dredge it. I feel that I'm not getting what I agreed to pay for. So I'm all good with paying for it. I would like it dredged to what I agreed to. And I think the other residents with a little bigger boats than me would like the same thing. So that's it. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Great, thank you. Any other speakers? We don't encourage clapping and booing or anything to the speakers because we have speakers on both sides. So thank you for your attendance to that. Any other speakers on this item? Okay, we'll close public comment. We'll come back to the board. Any other questions for staff?
Chairman, I have some, if none of the other commissioners do then. If we could we just talk to somebody on the staff about how do we verify that the work was completed as it was contracted to be completed? I think that process is a good safeguard process to talk about.
Yes, sir. So we do biometric surveys before and after the completion of the project. So there was multiple stages in this project. As you know, Hurricane Ian completely wiped out the company that we originally had contracted. But it also, at the same time, removed thousands of cubic yards of material from the canal. So we had it again surveyed, put it out before we go to procurement every time we do a survey, just to ensure. And then we had a completion survey. We have met the threshold. I will say that tides are unusually low right now, but short of that, yes, we've confirmed that we have confirmation from the Army Corps, we have confirmation from the engineer, and the surveys that all substantiate that the work has been completed.
Okay, that was my question. So the company that does the survey after the work is done, that's a different company than the company that completed the work, right?
Correct.
We checked the company.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
And
sir.
so you have what you feel like is actual evidence from
Yes, sir.
verified companies then that the work was done as we contracted for it
Yes, sir.
to be done? Okay, good. And then the other thing that I just wanted to address, because sometimes memories get fuzzy. I mean, believe it or not, we're actually 5 years past COVID-19, and it's for as big of an event as that was in all of our lives, right? I think we'll never forget it. Memories kind of fade and things get a little fuzzy, and so I think it's just important to talk about how the process of how these things get started. So this wasn't an idea of the county commission to
No,
do
sir.
this. This was brought to us by the community. The community said, hey, we want to come together as a community to pay for this dredging project. And so they went through this municipal services benefit unit process. We have a petition phase, right?
Yes, sir.
And so talk about how were the petitions collected in this phase? Was it similar to how all the other ones have been formed?
So I wasn't here at the beginning, but it was the formal petitions were sent out and notarized and approved, and we did have the sufficient amount. We had more than 50% plus one in favor of completing this project.
Okay, so we didn't get together and have a meeting in June and just say, you know what we should do, guys? We should force this on the people of this neighborhood. No, so the people came to us, they did a petition, 50% plus one, signed and notarized saying, yes, we'll pay for this project. We want to go forward with it. And they're given costs, you know, up front, they're given cost estimates as to what that might look like?
Yes, sir, and we've come in under.
Okay, and we came in under the cost estimate.
Yes, sir.
So a community said, we want to do this work, 50% plus one, wants this assessment. We're willing to do it at this price or less, and we came in less than that. And now that today's the day that we finally go ahead and assess that, they're saying, hey, we'd like to pay less, or we don't want to pay for it at all. And I just think that that puts us in a really bad spot because it changes the whole process after it's already taken place. And you really can't do that. It's not fair to the other communities that have gone through MSBU formations. And I just don't feel like that's a Pandora's box that I want to open today. So I'm okay with the way the staff has presented this today. And I truly respect the folks who, you know, maybe weren't on the side of wanting to take part in this from the beginning. And I definitely respect the question about let's make sure we get what we pay for. That's a great question. But I'm okay with it as presented today.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say, just for the record also, you kind of touched on it, Commissioner Hammond. I remember that meeting in June, because a lot of the residents from Whiskey Creek and Tommy and some other people were here for that meeting, and we weren't shut down, we were open. Lee County was open throughout the year 2020, so we've conducted business here every other week. There was a public meeting, it was recorded, and there was minutes taken, so there was nothing under the radar in the whole meeting. So just for the record, that everything was very transparent on that. So, any other discussion or motion?
Mr. Chair, if I may, this is a voluntary taxing district, correct?
Yes, sir.
So we didn't, in Commissioner Hammond's point, it was not our will forced upon
No, sir.
Whiskey Creek. The job was estimated at 603, came in at 573.
Yes, sir.
You don't hear that very often, right? That's good news to come in under budget. But this was something that I think was expected and foreseen in advance. And as someone in the marine construction industry, there's hundreds, if not dozens, of maintenance dredging contracts all over the county to dredge out private canals and other things that we've been involved with over the years. And those contractors, you have to have a third-party bathymetric survey to show the existing conditions of the soil, muck, whatever it is, and what the proposed excavation depth is going to be. And then it's verified after the fact by the same third party to verify the yardage. And typically those contractors are paid by the yard of materials generated. So they want to dig out as much as they can, or that they're allowed to within their permit. And respectfully to the boater that spoke here, the low tides that we're experiencing the last 30 days, I'm a boater, I live on Deep Lagoon right around the corner, and we're experiencing a lot of very low tides. I mean, just unusually low tides even for around here. So if you got 2.7 right now, you're doing pretty good, but I think what you're going to find over the years average, by the time you get to June, July, August, summertime tides, you're going to find out you got 3.5 to 4, and the average over the year is going to give you what the intended target was going to be. So it's not guaranteed to be that way as a minimum, depending what the moon and the tides are doing. It's a general average of mean high water.
Yes, sir.
I think is the term that we use for that. So I'm comfortable with the project. I say we knew the bill was coming, and we have to keep the deal's already been made. You can't just change the rules after the fact in a negotiation. That wouldn't be fair to everybody else who made a deal yesterday. So thank you for those good points.
Guess the sea level rise is not working too well here.
What's that?
The sea level rise is not working too well in this area. Any other comments?
I'll make a motion to move the item.
I'll second it.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Thank you. Number 29. David's got this one too.
Again, David Halverson, County Attorney's Office. This item is very similar to the previous one. This item seeks the adoption of a resolution confirming the final assessment role, ratifying the completion of capital improvements, and approving the final assessments to be levied against benefited properties within the Sheffield Way Dredge Capital Improvement Project, MSBU. This item has been legally advertised. If there's any questions, staff's available.
Great. Any questions for staff at this time? Okay. I have no cards list. Any public comment on item 29?
I apologize, I did not read the memo on filling out a public card early. Good morning, thank you guys for having us here today. I want to start by clearly saying, as this is an extension of the prior conversation, we're not alleging the process was done incorrectly. We understand that the MSBU framework was followed and that property owners signed it. We petitioned for it, we understand that. And up to the 20% was the discussion that we had at that time. So this is not a legal challenge. This is a policy appeal. The reason we're here is because the canal is not a typical residential drainage canal, and that changes things significantly. For more than 50 years, this waterway has functioned as a downstream component all the way up to the 10-mile canal for a county stormwater system. And the specific area we're talking about is the primary canal that extends beyond 41 to the Metro Corridor, and it's the beginning of the Whiskey Creek Canal system. What we were talking about in the prior 28 agenda item was the waterway out to the intercoastal, just to clarify that. During dredging, we didn't just remove mud. I want to make sure that's clear and understood. We pulled out tens of thousands of golf balls. Apparently, the Whiskey Creek Country Club has been contributing to this sediment load for quite some time. At one point, we thought during the dredging that we had literally hit gold. There was a large chest that surfaced from the bottom, and we thought it might have been Ponce de Leon's. It was not, unfortunately. I share that lightly to illustrate that it probably could have solved all of our funding problems, but what's accumulating in this canal comes from well beyond our property lines. This makes this a materially different conversation. And it simply isn't just dredging for private navigation. I think that's the important component here. Restoring the navigational depths is important to the property owners, but the canal depth also affects stormwater carrying capacity, the regional flood mitigation, and most importantly, the marine emergency response axis, which was not able to happen prior to this dredging project. There are some broader public benefits here, and I think that needs to be viewed. So the question today is not whether the board can maintain their current contribution. I think you can certainly do that. The question is whether this specific event, given the drainage role, the upstream inputs that are contributing here, maybe the neglect that has taken place over those 50 years, is this a truly comparable dredging project to other MSBUs? We respectfully believe that it is not. And for that reason, we asked the board to consider the county's participation better reflect the shared public interest in this canal that it has served for decades. Thank you for your time. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to take those.
Great. Thank you. Any other speakers on item 29? State your name for the record on the card.
Jerry Hemmer. I gave my card. I appreciate it. And first, I do want to thank you for the participation in this project. And I'll echo everything that Brian said. One of the things I do want to bring to note, though, is the size differential between the Whiskey Creek project coming in and the Sheffield project. This one actually did go over budget. And the size differential between that Sheffield project and the entire other project is probably, I'm going to guess, maybe 30% of the total distance. Yet the difference in cost was about only 75% of what the other one was. And so if you factor in the amount of soot and sediment that was taken out of just that one small section, it really does highlight the fact that there was so much sediment. Brian's mentioned the golf balls, that chest. I've had queen-size mattresses shoved under my dock because of the overflow. And so, I think the thing here is there's such a few amount of homes that participated in this, this project. It is a significant cost for a lot of people. Some have been there for generations, and $18,000 onto their property taxes is significant. So like Brian said, we did all agree to this project. I think a lot of us were shocked at the significant overrun and the amount of soot that came up from that one little small section as compared to the entire thing. And I think that's what kind of validates the point that there was a lot of overflow that came through. So we don't necessarily expect you to take on 100% of the thing. That would be a little bit ridiculous. But when we sit back and think that this is going to be something that's going to continue into the future, this won't be a one-time thing. That's a lot of conversation that we've had with some of our neighbors is like, when's the next one? How much is it going to continue to flow into our communities? And so if we could try to figure out a better partnership going forward, that was something we could then plan on and let our residents know. So that's all I wanted to say. Again, thank you for the contribution. That partnership means a lot, and it just goes to show our shared interest in this project.
Great, thank you. Any other speakers? Good. Do you have a card? Are you Mike?
Yeah, I'm Mike.
Okay, good.
And I want to thank you all for what you do here for the county. And Mr. Pendergrass, we spoke back in December, and I think over text about runoff or contribution to sediment after we had just gotten the canal dredged. The county was doing some work upstream on Whiskey Creek Golf Course, and just the debris and sediment that was coming down from that illustrates what Jerry and Brian before me have talked about. There's not been a stormwater or watershed study done, as I'm aware, since 1991. So in that respect, the development that's happened in the county has grown dramatically. And so those contributors upstream are, I think, I appreciate the county putting money in and the homeowners putting money in, but I think it leaves out other contributors that aren't participating, that are getting relieved by this canal. And, crap rolls downhill. We're the downhill recipients of all that, and we're funding the large portion of that. I do appreciate the county participating in it. You recognize it, but it has lacked study on who the contributors really are. So I would like to have that happen if there's an engineer that can go through that. And then I would, is there an ongoing plan to maintain this where whoever those contributors are, help maintain it on a more, I've been there 30 years and, or 25 years to be accurate. And there's not been any maintenance to it. So what happens in the future? Because as you can tell, many residents are concerned about how often they're going to be assessed by that. Well, it would be nice to know that. Also, the canals that are across the street from me, or my neighbors that are across the street, that canal doesn't have any problem, nor do the other canals that aren't on that main, on our drainage canal area. So that would also illustrate that it's a problem isolated to that canal, which does change our tax, our basis compared to the guy right across the street, right? So it is a privilege to live where we do, and I appreciate that. So I would just like to see a study to validate who should actually be paying for all of this. And I do believe we have a responsibility to it. I do appreciate the county's responsibility to it, but there's a component left out of the other contributors upstream that are generating the majority of the sediment that's coming down. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public speakers? Okay, we'll come back to the board for any questions or discussions. I had a couple of questions. I'll be best for Josh, or if you have somebody from Natural Resources here, talk about the outflows.
Yes, we have Roland.
Okay.
Roland,
can you talk about a little bit? I mean, I know the canals. I grew up playing in those canals when I was a kid. I know them very well. So we all know where that water comes from. With the Timon Canal, the one canal runs east and west through Whiskey Creek that comes across Summerlin from Pine Manor. Can you give us a little bit of background from the hydrology side? As far as responsibility, when you have a canal like this, and no matter what, you have upstream, downstream, you have water passing through any body of water throughout Lee County, unless it's a contained lake. So what do we usually do? How do we keep this from happening throughout the county?
Good morning, Natural Resources, Roland Ottolini. Yes, got to remind ourselves, this is part of the former Canal L, the Iona Drainage District. It was constructed in the 1920s, and so it serves as primarily as a flood protection measure, and it currently serves that function now without any kind of dredging. In fact, it was studied in terms of after the Irma storm event, we did conduct that flood mitigation study, and this area was included, the Whiskey Creek watershed was, and it was not found to be deficit in that area for flood protection. There are some improvements way upstream that we need to make near the 10-mile canal, but this area was found to be sufficient in flood level service. So any kind of dredging would then therefore be just a sole benefit for those who for navigational purposes, not for flood protection purposes.
Right. And this canal, the one canal is right off of Whiskey Creek Drive, the bridge, that's the main flow east-west. The other canals that go off of that would collect more of debris. Golf balls, people hit on number 9, I think it is across the canal. There's a short part 3. I don't hang golf balls in there. I haven't played golf there, so they're not my golf balls. But is that normal, that sediment that's coming down? I know every couple of years I talk to the residents out there, there's flow over the weir and stuff. We open the weir and all the vegetation comes out and everything we clean. Who is, at the end of the day, responsible for keeping those canals maintained throughout the years?
Well, Lee County maintains the canals upstream. Sediment deposition, as you mentioned, is a natural phenomenon. I mean, every creek and river and stream in the United States has basically an outfall where sediment, naturally through erosion from land masses deposit when the water level and the velocity settles out. And so this is no different. We do have a water control structure just upstream of them by the golf course, and that actually does serve as some sediment trap, so that does protect some of that moving downstream. But again, the flood capacity is there. Dredging would be solely for navigational access, and there's nobody denying public access. You can still access. It's just the deeper draft vessels may have an issue when it's shallow or wintertime, like you mentioned.
And I know over the years we talked about 10-mile canal, other canals, we'll say, just get more capacity, we want to just dig it deeper, dig it 10 feet deeper on our side. Well, if we do that, as I learned through you and all the scientists, we do that, create more capacity. And you're going to have more outflow because of that, which would bring more sediment because the water will be flowing faster to the other end. So it's obviously a challenge. So I just want to try to get some more answers out there to some of the questions. Who's going to maintain this in the future? Is there anything we could do on our side more upstream to reduce some of this vegetation and outflow in one of these areas?
Well, that would be the sole requirement of property owners, newer development, things like that, to maintain any kind of erosion they may have on their communities that may be contributing. But as far as maintenance, DOT does a good job of maintaining the canal of excess debris and vegetation that might be floating down to their area.
Yeah, the problem is like this one canal goes in behind Stam Galloway through behind Pine Manor, and it gets all the trash and from the road trash and gets all the road debris in there, and like the one gentleman said, a mattress. So you never know what you're going to find in there. And also from the storms, everything gets blown into the low-lying areas. So, okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Roland or any other stuff?
I did, Mr. Chair, if I could,
Mr. Hammond?
just to kind of confirm. So if I heard what you're saying correctly, so the purpose of these canals, specifically this canal, was really flood control and drainage then?
Yes.
Okay, and then before we undertook this, you did have some study that you relied upon, some engineering study that verified for you that they were operating with enough capacity to handle the flood water that would come their way?
Yes, the Irma study, the Lee County flood mitigation study confirmed, through hydrological analysis and computer modeling and whatnot, through that analysis, determined that that section of the canal is sufficient for flood protection.
So because it was sufficient for flood control, then you said, we said the only reason to dredge would be to dredge for boating, and that's not necessarily what the canal was. That's not the government purpose of the canal, then, is it?
Yeah, our study was independent of the dredge project, so what they did was basically look at the sediment and see what's desirable for navigation. So that was a totally separate entity and effort.
Gotcha. Okay. I think that answers my question. Mr. Chairman, I think the people who spoke today made fantastic comments. I mean, honestly, I just want to give you tremendous credit for that's statesmanship. That is exactly productive conversation that I'm looking forward to having with folks. I think it's hard. It's really hard to go back real quick. We don't do back and forth. I'm sorry, and I hate this format. I would love to do back and forth with you guys, but I'm sympathetic to the question of what happens next time. I feel like we did the process correctly to get to where we are today, and I feel like, again, kind of like I said on the last one, it'd be hard to rebuild it now that we're all the way at the end of the process. But I do understand the question of what happens next time. Do we have a bigger share of responsibility? And I like the idea of getting some real data that would show what that responsibility is. I don't know that that helps today, unfortunately, but it could help answer that question about what happens next time. So that's kind of where my head's at.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Mr. Chair. So once again, I wanted to thank for the positive public comment on this. The decorum and the feedback is very helpful. I'm sorry that Mr. Pendergrass hit so many golf balls into your canal.
Not mine.
But
Always get par there.
hopefully the dredge guy gave you some credit back on what they resold out of there. But I was pleased to see that the actual final cost to the property owners with the county contribution actually came in slightly under budget, so that's generally positive. But to your credit, if this was a 50-year clean out, as you described it, as the first time it's been done in 50 years, then I think if it was looked at in 5 or 10 year increments, when you have your next voluntary assessment to look at some of the scope of work, now we have more measurable deliverables to see if we can find out where the mud, golf balls tracked from, mattresses, unfortunately other debris. But if we can find the source, now we have something measurable that's a clean slate, and you can actually evaluate those things. Like I said, I mentioned that I live on Deep Lagoon, and we have the maintenance dredge. I'm on the east side of Deep Lagoon, so the channel's on the far side, deeper side, and all the silt comes towards me. And my neighbors and I have to share an expense to maintain our canal dredge or access to our boat slips. And I wish it was $18,000 a piece for our project, but it's about every 10 years we have to do a maintenance dredging on the silting in there. And it's just part of it's natural phenomena, and part of it may be other third-party costs. But I think it's realistic to go back and look and find the science that supports the data that then supports the decision on the next round of the project, so you can make an informed decision. And this engineering study, was that the AIM engineering report, Roland, the 1,200 pager? Okay. If any of you would like access to the entire county 10-mile canal project, please contact our staffs, and we'd be happy to forward that to you so that you can see the whole master plan and the drainage questions that you may think are third-party issues. You'd have the science and the maps to help support those questions. I think you might find that useful. But the other thing that I'll caution you on is if you have studies in engineering, as we mostly find with our projects, it costs money to have that opinion to do the dredging, have these engineering reports too. So if you spend $100,000 to find out your neighbors should have put in 50 grand for the final construction of the project, that's something to evaluate, and as those new phases of the project are considered as well. So I'm just trying to be helpful, but I respect the subject. I love the waterways and grew up boating and fishing here, so I want to see the improvement, and I think you made some excellent points today. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I just echo both commissioners what's our next steps for the future, I think is very important and critical as we move forward with this. So I'd like to see what we can do with staff with that too, moving forward.
Thank you. Any motion or action?
Did you already motion?
I didn't, but I will make the motion for approval as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Great, thank you. That ends the public hearings. We'll move on to welcome carriers. We have none. We have commissioner items and commissioner appointments. Commissioner Hammond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have 2 commissioner items today. Commissioner item number 1, I wanted to, on the subject of water, see if Mr. Ottolini could come and just get us up to speed on the South Florida Water Management District, who, they meet over on the East Coast, but they're responsible for flood control and water supply in 16 counties. They recently passed the beginning of a rulemaking process that would look at restricting the water allocations in Cape Coral and Lehigh Acres, and 2 different sections. And so I'm hoping that Roland can kind of catch us up to speed on what this process would look like. And maybe by the end of the conversation, we could talk about sending a letter to the Water Management District, asking them to, if they're going to have public workshops on this rulemaking procedure, have them over here in Lee County where the people who are most affected can participate in that rulemaking process and in those workshops. So, Roland, explain it for us.
Good morning again. Roland Ottolini, Natural Resources. Yes, last week the governing board of the South Florida Water Management District passed a resolution to begin rulemaking process for restricted allocation areas. And there's 2 areas in Lee County they're focusing on: North Cape Coral, northern Lee County, the Mid-Hawthorne Aquifer, and then also the Sandstone Aquifer and Lehigh Acres. And they're recognizing that there's a lot of demand. In fact, demand's probably outpacing supply out in that area in terms of domestic supply as well as consumptive permit use for development. So what they want to do, we've been working with them for months, meeting with them twice a month with them as well as the Cape Coral staff, looking at what the aquifer levels are doing. And they have certain triggers that will either trigger to increased watering restrictions or what have you. In fact, in Lehigh, one of these edicts were to no longer allow irrigation use out of the sandstone aquifer, because that's the most prolific aquifer in Lehigh acres. And so what this rulemaking will do is try to codify some of that, more formalize that process. There are some triggers when it gets closer to, if the water level starts dropping below the top of the aquifer level, and the aquifer could actually compress and destroy that water-bearing formation. So it's very critical that we monitor and watch to make sure that we conserve water in those areas. So, the cost effectiveness of going to deeper wells can be very, very cumbersome for new homeowners. So that's something we want to practice and we want to monitor. So this is a rulemaking process. There'll be public meetings, and the devil's in the details. Our staff will certainly be there and working with the Water Management District, and we'll bring anything new to you.
Very good. So thank you very much, Roland. And if you guys have any questions, of course, feel free to ask them. But Mr. Chairman, my request today is that we, number one, obviously direct our staff to be fully engaged in this rulemaking process with the Water Management District. This is going to affect two major communities, Lehigh Acres and North Cape Coral. So please, if we can have our staff all hands on deck, involved in the rulemaking process, that would be key for us. Then number two, draft a letter signed by our chairman, but conveying the position of our board to the Water Management District that, as you undertake this rulemaking process, please hold your workshops and your public hearings here on this coast, where the people who are going to be most affected by this rule can have input and be engaged in the process. And that's really my request for today. Their meetings are regularly over on the East Coast, but they do hold like one meeting a year over here. So if they could, as they're doing their workshops, as they're making this rule, as they're making their final decisions, give the people who will be affected by it most a chance to be fully engaged in the process.
You have my consensus on that?
Yeah. And do we even need to make a motion just to give the chair the authority to sign that letter? Okay.
I applaud you for the motion, and I had the good fortune to serve on the 10 county or 16 county coalition board last year, and Chair Ruane is currently in that position for 2026. So we're in good hands there with his experience in a lot of these water management matters, and up conveying his liaison ambassadorship for Lee County to advocate for these things as well. But I know that group is well engaged at Okeechobee when they meet over there, but it is heavily weighted towards the East Coast, and I certainly understand your perspective, and I applaud your efforts to get that balance on both coasts.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is have the meetings here, so at least the residents of Cape Coral and Lehigh feel like they're being heard. They've held meetings here. They've actually had them here in this chamber 12 years ago for the CETUS locks, I believe, and 14 years ago too. So they can hold their meetings over on this side. So.
Just thank you for bringing this up, because this is a huge concern out there for Lehigh, and it's something we've been in conversation with Roland and I, and so I thank you for bringing it forward today so we can discuss and fully support it.
Great.
Thanks again. And then my second item, Mr. Chairman, then with that consensus, and thank you, board, I appreciate that very much. Second item is just to bring forward an update on an item that we approved earlier this year. So earlier this year, we added to our legislative agenda the exciting opportunity to begin the process of getting in Del Prado and I-75 interchange for Cape Coral. And so the state has included it tentatively. It's in the budget so far for half of the PD&E study. And my understanding is now on the federal side, Congressman Byron Donalds would like to seek funding for the other part of the PD&E study, the Project Development and Environment Study. And so just simply asking today for permission to sign a letter of support to Byron, Congressman Donalds rather, just conveying the board's support that we support you as you seek this federal funding for this interchange.
Definitely.
Okay.
Can we get a Buc-ee's on that exit too?
No, I don't know.
Charlotte got the last one. We lost the other one thanks to the city of Fort Myers, but we hopefully get one up there then.
Yeah,
Be good
it'll
for
be
Cape Coral.
exciting for a lot of us who've lived in Cape Coral and have been, we've been promised that for a long time.
Yeah, I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and we talked about it a few weeks ago, but they're like, why we want to exit in Del Prado for I-75? I said, think of all the traffic that continues going south on I-75 and get off of Colonial or Daniels to go to Cape Coral. That would probably take 30% of the traffic off of Colonial and Daniels if they could get off of Del Prado. And it's the same thing with Lehigh traffic going south to the Lico extension. So it'd be obviously an increase to our whole traffic network here in Lee County. So
Yeah, it's just-
it would impact everybody. It's not just for Cape Coral. Believe me, it'll affect everybody in Lee County because all that traffic will not pass through the other parts of the county. So it'd be huge to get that in the future.
Very good. So if staff will, I think I got a draft of the letter, but if staff will draft that up and we'll get it signed by our chairman and send it over to the congressman, that'd be great.
Yep. Need a motion? You're good? Consensus? Good? Okay.
Thanks, Mr.
Thank
Mayor.
you. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Luckett, do you have anything?
I do not.
Commissioner Petrossi?
I do not.
Okay, I have one item I'd like to bring up. So about, God, I can't believe it's been 8 years now. I believe 8 years ago, the city of Fort Myers and a lot of areas of the country during election time decided to take down a lot of monuments and statues throughout the country, and a lot of them have been replaced. So I was asking, I've been working with a couple of different groups of citizen groups, and we asking the board's consensus to get the board consensus to send a letter to the city of Fort Myers requesting they relinquish their possession of the Lee Military Monument they have removed from the public median of 1300 block of Monroe Street to Lee County. Also, the monument be displayed on county property as a historical military monument at no cost to the city. There is a time capsule within the monument, and the city's mentioned that if there's any value to that, they may want to look at what the value is, but my request is to leave the time capsule in its place and be designated opening at the time of when it's supposed to be honored, which I think was 100 years, I believe. So it's still like 40 years left on that. So consensus is to send a letter to the city to see if they will voluntarily turn it over to the county. We'll find a location. Here we have currently 7 locations on our county property now with military monuments, the Korean War, Vietnam War, World War II along the grounds here at the courthouse, and find someplace outside to put the granite monument. If there's consensus to do that.
Question, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Is this the first time this request has ever been made?
I have verbally, we have talked to the city before about it. The city wasn't sure. They thought about maybe putting it back up over the years. The city had thought about, well, we're trying to find ownership. I talked to Grand Alley over the years. They didn't own it. It was dedicated, it was purchased and given to the city of Fort Myers and Lee County, the citizens of Lee County, 56 years ago. And when it was dedicated to the city in Lee County, it was basically the county attorney's office. I had worked on trying to find out who actually owns it. Nobody really could claim an owner. The city, since it said it was on their median, they claim ownership. So they took possession of the granite monument. Not the bus, though, just the monument, because the bus was taken by the people that owned the bus that was on top of it.
So do you want to put the bust and the monument?
If we could get the two groups to work together, yes, it'd be one item. It'd be the monument with the gold bus on top of it, because it says General Lee.
No, I support it. I just don't know why anybody would object if they're not, if they haven't.
The city just didn't want to basically talk about it, deal with it. They didn't want to have to deal with it on their side politically, so that's why I'm thinking it's a perfect opportunity for us now to, it's been 8 years, nothing's changed for anybody's life, that being gone, so now they've obviously have a conversation with the city leaders, and they said, send a request over and we'll turn it over to you.
I have an idea,
Yes.
just for discussion, I have an idea. The group that actually, you said initially donated the monument, are they still in existence today?
It's been different. It's been 56 years. So you have the Civil War group, and you have the Sons of the Confederate Veterans. It's all different people. It's been 56 years ago since that people. It was even hard to identify from pictures who was there. We have pictures through the last 20 years of myself and other commissioners, other mayors there together for ceremonies.
They're the ones that have the monument, or I'm sorry, the bust itself though, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Ross Barnett, yes.
So instead of getting the government involved in this, couldn't they just get it? Why, I guess that's my question is, the government, we've never been really involved with the bust thing here at Lee County. We've always said, the portrait certainly is ours to talk about, but the bust in the city was the city's to talk about. And I guess my question is my idea is, instead of instead of taking possession of it and making it our thing, what if it just goes to the group that wants it and let them do what they want with it? It's America. It's their opportunity to honor history, American history, the way they would choose to, instead of having to get the government involved in everything.
So over the last 8 years, they have asked the city refused to give it to them because they said they weren't the owners, because there was no identifiable owners. We could, through an interlocal agreement, accept the relinquish that to us, possession. Not saying we own it, we take possession through local agreement. Since then, the other groups actually have taken lawsuits against the city for not returning it. This month, actually, this is why I'm trying to get this done now, is those groups would actually take legal action against the city for not returning it to them. So just trying to clear the air from all the different groups. This is a concrete, it's a granite monument. We're in Lee County. It's got Lee on the doors there. We have the tree outside that we've carved and decorated. We used to hang prisoners from 115 years ago. So at the end of the day, we're not trying to change history, just trying to put history back on the grounds. We have historical artifacts here in the hallway with your wife's great-great-grandfather's picture. So it's just another artifact of history, like the pictures are in the lobby here. So I just thought, since the groups had approached me about this, that over the years, this would be a good time to do this now. And put it with the Korean War veterans, the World War II veterans, the Vietnam veterans. We have all the monuments outside now.
I would just love to take all these decisions out of the hands of the government. I mean, these are things that people want to do to memorialize people that they look up to and that they honor. And I hate that these are decisions that the government has to make, whether to display something or not display something or whatever. I mean, it'd be great if we could focus on the core government duties and let the people, handle those things. And so that was my thought. I just thought, give it to the group that wants it, let them, display it how they like. And,
But unfortunately, we as government, as we did a few months ago, we named a bridge after somebody, a soldier. We do things like that every day here. We're constantly having to, take that opportunity to memorialize, recognize somebody that did something great in our community. And this is just a part of another element of history. That's the way they're looking at it. So, and if you had a group like that, where would they put it? On their personal front yard? I mean, then it'd be a code enforcement issue. So that's why you have statues throughout the world, in Europe and North America, of statues of different places on roadways and medians and parks. Where else would you put it? We weren't involved with it. So anyway, that's the...
If I may, so I appreciate your comments, and since we're having a discussion, I personally, speaking for myself, completely support having the opportunity to use our influence as Lee County Commissioners to ask the city to cooperate with this third party, and I would welcome the opportunity to have this monument displayed on our grounds here at the Lee County Administrative Office, in our old courthouse property with our other statues. But General Lee is what Lee County was named after when John Powell, Jenna's ancestor, was one of the first 5 county commissioners and helped form Lee County back from the beginning. So I think to honor that tradition and the service to Lee County is a big deal. So I completely support that and would welcome the opportunity for us to make that request to facilitate this.
At the end of the day, the city
give a safe place to visit, right? If people, if they had their own front yard, as you said, then they got insurance issues and people want to come see it and they can't see it, they're trespassing it. That's just, they're not it would be, then they'd have a code case. They would have.
And hopefully the city,
for a museum,
hopefully the city will see the right thing to do, and they may say no, and then other groups will take legal action against them. So we'll be a mute topic today, though. But I thought we could at least ask first and see how that goes with the city for us. Hope the city will do the right thing.
It's a good faith win-win opportunity, and I completely support your motion.
Okay, thank you. Michael, do I need a vote for this or just consensus? How do you want us to do this? Vote for this one. Okay. So is there any public comment on this item? Okay, come back to the board. Is there any objection to the commissioner
Chairman,
item?
if I may.
I'm sorry.
I'm not going to vote against you today, and understand what you're trying to get done here. I just, to kind of foreshadow what's going to happen. I've seen this movie before now. In 12 years. And so for the next several months now, we're going to have public comment at every single meeting, arguing this topic back and forth, and we'll continue to move forward now for months talking about this idea, as opposed to addressing how long the commute times are, traffic. We won't be talking about affordability and how to make things, better for people who live here and who are working for a living. We won't be talking about growing the economy. We'll be talking about this for several months. And, I'm not saying it's not a worthwhile conversation to have, but I know there are people out there in Lee County right now who are driving, sitting in traffic, pounding their fist on the steering wheel saying, boy, sure wish somebody cared about what I care about right now. And so that's my hesitancy and why I'd love to take some of this stuff out of government's hands and really focus on what we're here to do. But I'm not gonna vote against you today.
No, and that's why I want to have this discussion. Believe me, Commissioner Hammond, we've been here through this movie before. We all know how many years we dealt with the whole picture situation. I totally get it. So that's why I was trying to, before today, find a place maybe the city would just automatically do it. So maybe today I can withdraw my motion, and then maybe I can have some more conversations with the city, and see if the city would just voluntarily do that without any action here at the board, because I don't want to create, like you said, and we're still building roads, so people can come here and talk about this. They can come here and talk about masks or whatever they want to talk about. We were shut down in 2020, but the point is, at the end of the day, we're still doing it. We are providing service to the people. We are building those roads, and we are taking care of that. The affordability, that's a state issue with insurance, but at the end of the day, we are doing those services. But unfortunately, sometimes these topics have to come up, and it's painful, and it's that we have to talk about it, and that's why I thought it'd be a good time. But as of today, I will withdraw my commissioner item, and I will continue to work with the city to see if maybe they can come back with another resolution. We won't have to physically ask them for a letter to see if they will work with the groups. I just know there's pending litigation this month, so we'll be talking about this even sooner. So for now, I'll pull it for today though. So.
And if I may, Mr. Chair, whether or not we have this letter, or they just know that we're willing to do the letter, it might accomplish the same goal in those conversations, because if we need a letter next week to make it happen, then we also be willing.
And how would you urge my board here if they could reach out to the members of the city council and say, hey, look, we're going to do this one way or another. We're going to either the buses are going to come back here on our grounds, or if you want to relinquish the piece of granite you're holding for some reason hostage, or you can give it back, give it back to the owners, the people of Lee County that was dedicated 56 years ago. So it's up to them how they want to do it though.
Right, but I respectfully, team, I think we can accomplish everything that's on our current mission, as you mentioned, affordability, roads, transportation, housing, all the services. We're talking about this right now, and we just approved a $300 million water treatment plant. We managed to pull them both off on the same day. So I have every confidence that we're not going to be overwhelmed with extra work over any one subject, but we can still keep our civic duties that the constituents ask us to do on a daily basis and continue to respond accordingly as a team in their best interest every 2 weeks.
And I'm trying to keep this obviously low level. This is really like you said, it's not a big issue. But I think more we talk about this, and if there's resistance on those sides, it will probably become a state issue. I can see the governor, and I can see it on a national level getting involved. That here they are in Lee County, the city council who fought ICE a year ago now is fighting against giving back a monument they took down 8 years ago. So that's fine. We could play the games like that. So the point is, I'd rather make it easier and get through this this way. But for today, I will withdraw my motion or my commissioner item and until the next meeting maybe. So we'll see what happens.
Thank you for a good discussion.
Great. Thank you. Any other commissioner items? Anything? Commissioner appointments. Commissioner Hammond.
I have one reappointment today, Mr. Chairman. Sean Robertson to the Well Construction Advisory Board.
Second.
Thank you.
Any objection? No objection. Motion carries. I have none today. Commissioner Malooka.
None.
Commissioner Petrosky. No. You did all yours already.
The whole year
All done.
at one time.
County Manager, Alex. David.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have no items today.
Great. Mike? Nothing for the County Attorney's Office? Okay. Okay, we move on to Public Matters Concerned Citizens, and we have David Minnick. David's here? Here. And after David, we have Daniel Becker.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name's David Minnick, and I'm a resident here in Fort Myers, representing the Eyes on 2020 organization today. Several months ago, I, along with many others, spoke here of our concerns that the voter-mandated funds for Conservation 2020 were insufficient in the county budget. A good number of citizens spoke at that meeting in an effort to encourage continued support for a program that is widely supported and very successful to date. At the time, we were assured that the Board of County Commissioners as a group supported Conservation 2020 and would be exploring ways to continue the funding of this, and that was over 5 months ago. I come before you today to ask that this be a priority in your work and budgeting. I see that there's a strategy workshop scheduled for next Monday. And I would hope that a discussion about future funding for Conservation 2020 might be among the topics to be discussed and evaluated. Continued funding for this program is especially critical at this time. Our organization continues to hear of missed opportunities for land purchases, which would be of great benefit to the county. When funding for programs like this is uncertain, property owners become reluctant to entertain inquiries or bids for their lands, fearing they will not be completed. As I understand it, the current reserve fund sits at $117 million, some of which could be, I hope, directed to this invaluable program. I trust you are all aware of the widespread support for conservation efforts here in Lee County. The initial Conservation 2020 vote back in 2016 was approved by 84% of voters. Research and documents from the VCP stress over and over again the many benefits of ecotourism. Tourists as well as local residents value a wonderful and sound environment, and conservation is a core conservative value, one that pays dividends abundantly. I can assure you that many whose paths I cross daily, who know of my participation in Eyes on 2020, ask me about the future funding of Conservation 2020. So I hope the consideration for this successful and widely embraced program will be a priority in your strategy workshop and visioning for Lee County in the years to come. Thank you today for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker is Daniel Becker. Stoplights. You want more traffic lights?
Pardon?
You put stoplights.
Oh. Good morning. I'm Daniel Becker. I'm resident of District 5. In the coming years, it is inevitable that revenue from state and property taxes will decline. Lee County is going to have to come up with ways to supplement the monies lost. In the first 2 months of operation, ending January 2026, Lee County school bus cameras triggered nearly 9,000 citations, generating approximately $2 million in fines. This program has both made streets safer and generated revenue. According to recent insurance industry reports, Florida has one of the highest accident rates in the U.S., and the average full coverage premium in Florida is 55% higher than the national average. This dramatic price tag puts Florida in the top 3 most expensive states for auto insurance. Florida also ranks among the worst states for uninsured motorists. The Lee County Department of Transportation, under the Lee County Board of Commissioners, is responsible for operating and maintaining the traffic signal and traffic management system cameras, while the Lee County Sheriff's Office is responsible for using cameras for enforcing traffic laws, such as red light running. It is time for these government entities to get together and figure out how to implement Lee County-wide red light safety cameras. I know this has been looked at in the past, and some will squawk that it violates their rights, ignoring the fact that Sheriff's Office already uses cameras to monitor most public spaces and streets in Lee County. It is time to curb the carnage on our streets. Implementing Lee County-wide red light safety cameras will reduce fatal crashes, reduce violation rates, reduce insurance and healthcare costs, and generate revenue. I ask that in your coming workshops, when you start investigating ways to generate more revenue, you seriously look at this again. Thank you.
Thank you. Any public comment? Please come forward. Just for the record, the funding for those traffic cameras, the fund goes to the third-party vendors, not to the counties, municipalities. So if you, just $1.02 comes to the cities and counties. And any traffic fines go to the state of Florida, not the cities. Joyce, were you speaking? Okay, come on up.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Joyce Campana. I'm a Lee County resident of District 2. I've been attending these meetings for 3 years, and there has been repeated concern expressed about the Lee County Domestic Animal Services kill policy. The board made minor changes to the length of time an animal is held before it is killed. Many citizens have raised concerns about the Animal Services kill policy. Please do not try to gaslight us and tell us it is something else. It is a kill policy when approximately 25% of animals at the shelter are killed. I find it disgusting that the board has taken no real action to modify this policy. Cape Coral, Collier County, and cities across the United States manage to run no-kill shelters. Why can't Lee County do the same? This board has spent an inordinate amount of time and resources on parking in Boca Grande. You created a citizens parking committee for Boca Grande. Why can't the board create a citizens advisory group for the Lee County Domestic Animal Services? In your strategic planning workshop on February 23rd, you should discuss how to expand the current facility or build a new one. Also, you need to address funding options to allow hiring additional qualified professional staff and how funding can be obtained to eliminate the kill policy. I urge you to address this issue. After all, the way we treat our animals says a lot about how we treat each other and other human beings. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? No? Okay, any other business? We're good. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.